There was a bunch of different characters, but I'm going to explain the ones that stood out the most to me. There was a girl with pale greenish skin who had old worn out clothes. She looked sickly. She was so skinny with bruises on her, and she had a bandana over her hair and a mask over her mouth with a big red X on it. But the thing that stood out the most was that there was a long mouth going across her stomach. I think it was eating all her food. That's why she was so skinny. She had dark circles for eyes, and even though they were black, you could sense the sorrow in them. Next, there was a girl with a mask. It had a cheesy fake smile on it. She had long, flowing black hair that sat on her breast. Her clothes were raggedy and worn down. She was pale and skinny as well, and across her stomach was a blood-dripping mouth. I noticed that on her thighs there were cuts. They were on her wrists too, but the one that stood out the most was the one going across her neck. It was still squirting out blood. The next girl had on a long pink dress with stains on it. She had short, choppy brown hair that looks as if she cut it herself with a pair of rusty scissors. She was very timid and had bruises all over her. Her eyes were big and glossy, and on her face were scars where she has been crying. For some reason, I felt instant sorrow for her and the others, but then came upon a more disturbing image. There was two girls. One had short copper hair, who was standing confidently, and the other had long black hair, who sat on the floor beside her. These two felt very close, but not in a good way. The girl who was standing looked pretty normal, except that she was wearing clothes too small for her. She had stitches on her arms and feet, but the creepiest thing was she had no eyes. The girl who was on the floor was small and was bare, meaning she didn't have any clothes on. However, she did have eyes, but they were covered by her bangs. What was disturbing about her is she didn't have arms or feet, and she had a chain around her neck that the other girl was holding. See, now I was trying to figure out what this dream meant. I don't know why, I just kind of felt like it, and now it's been a reoccurring dream that I had. It started about 2 weeks ago, and I just get it every night, and every night adds on a little bit more, and it's kind of weird. I don't really know what it means, but I do know that all the characters are dead. And what I'm thinking is each one of them has something different on them, and that's how they died. For example, the one with the mouth on her stomach and the first one that was really sick looking and stuff, I'm assuming she was anorexic and she died of starvation. However, the other one, who had the mouth on the stomach and had cuts on her neck, I'm assuming she would starve herself and she would self-harm, and I think she ended up committing suicide. She cut herself. She cut her wrist or her throat. I think she slit her neck. That's why there was a big gash there. However, for the one that looked really fragile with the pink dress, who had bruises all over her and choppy hair, I'm assuming that she was abused, or she got made fun of at school and like people beat her up for it or something. However, for the hair, I don't know why it looked like that. Maybe it got burned off, but she had no burns on her, so maybe she cut it off because she didn't feel pretty. Maybe kids were making fun of her and they started hitting her because she was quote unquote unattractive. But I don't really know. Obviously, she had a bunch of bruises and scars and she looked really fragile, like timid, like she's been hit, so maybe it was abuse. And for the last one that had no arms or legs, I have two things here. Either I'm assuming that she was murdered by someone and that's why they're connected with that chain, is because she's been kidnapped. And maybe that's how they're connected in a way, and she was tortured. And I'm assuming, and my main thought is, when she was taken, she was very beautiful, and she was still kind of small. Maybe she was in middle school or high school or something. She was short, and this girl that took her was jealous of her, maybe from her beauty, and so she started taking her beauty away by marking her, or taking off her limbs. Or maybe the girl herself, didn't have arms and legs, and so she took hers and put it on her. That also wouldn't make sense, because how could she take hers if she didn't have arms? She couldn't saw them off and then stitch it on herself. But I kind of thought something like that. And like, she had stitches on her arms and legs. Where the other girl, I'm gonna name her Tsubaki, just for the point of it. This Tsubaki was the one with the black hair that had no limbs. I'm assuming Tsubaki didn't have arms or legs because the girl took them from her because she wanted them. And that's why, let's say this girl is a demon and she needs, no, not a demon, someone who's, I don't know how to explain this. Let me go to my other assumption real quick and then I'll come back. I think maybe, I also thought that Tsubaki and this girl could be really close, and like, the reason why she has the chain is because she can't walk, and so this girl is trying to guide her. However, the girl had no eyes, and so Tsubaki is her eyes showing her where to go. That doesn't explain why Tsubaki had no legs and why this girl had no eyes. Maybe they were just born that way, or maybe somebody took them. Maybe they're going to find the person that stole their body parts and they're going to make him pay. Or, back to my first assumption, Tsubaki, this girl took Tsubaki's body parts and put them on herself. Maybe she took Tsubaki's and would cut off her arm and sew it on because Tsubaki had fairer skin, prettier skin than her, and what's left is her eyes. Maybe she gouged out her own eyes and is now taking Tsubaki's pretty sparkly eyes. That's my thought on it. Another thing is maybe none of this happened, is they're all different forms of depression or stuff like anxiety and stuff. I know that's really stereotyping type to say and it's kind of cringy, I know, but just hear me out. I'm thinking maybe the girl with that I thought died of starvation, The first one, maybe she does have an eating disorder. Maybe that's anorexia. And the girl with the mask and the cuts on her wrist and stuff, maybe she's self-harm and she's pretending that everything is okay when it's not. That's why she has the mask. And for some reason, I related to this girl the most. It just felt more of a connection to her. Maybe the other girl is bullying. This is what happens when bullying hits. She's fragile, broken. So maybe she's breaking. And then the last one, though, I don't really know what that would be. That one kind of hit me. I know I don't know why I'm making a video about this. I just had this dream. It wasn't really a nightmare. I mean, I felt fine when I was in it. I just kind of felt like out of my body in a way. And it's just been happening over and over every night. I haven't had any other dream except for this. And no, I'm not bullshitting you. This actually happened in my dream, I mean. There are a bunch of different characters. And they were all kind of together. They all form in a category. But I'm not going to get into those characters. And like I said, each night I've been learning something more. Whether it's a new character shows up or a more hint at where this is going. I don't really know what it means. I don't know. I'm trying to come up with something out of it. I just felt like sharing it. So, yeah, that's the story. Tell me your craziest dream you've had, if you dare. Yeah, bye.